Hey, Soul Tribe. Mel, Intuitive Coach here. Excited to bring in your collective reading. Switching things up a bit this week. So if you feel called to the title of the reading, there may be something here for you. All right, where are you going? Well, you have here intuition. You have the High Priestess and the Judgment card. Wow, there is some truth coming out. Maybe even some truth that you weren't ready to see, but it's time to consider your next move and where you wish to be. Now, when the High Priestess shows up, this is about you trusting your inner voice and your feelings. I feel like a lot of you weren't quite sure how to maybe have a second chance or how to make a move, but bottom of the deck, you have the Chariot here. So the Chariot is about forward momentum. When the Chariot shows up, it's time to find your focus and race towards success. I feel like you are on this path of personal discovery here, Soul Tribe. So let's see what your intuition is telling you at this time, and let's see what the second chance, this spiritual awakening, if you will, is all about. You are moving on. You're moving on from something that I feel for some of you, you were either not wanting to see, you felt disconnected from, maybe even in denial around, or you were detaching already from a situation. So this has been a long time coming where you knew that you weren't quite in it like you once were. And this is saying you're ready for a rebirth. The Judgment here is saying you're ready to step into your truth. But sometimes it's easier said than done. We can stay in situations well past the expiration date, but I feel like the time is now with the Chariot showing up. It could even be, between now and Cancer season. So June and July, we have here the High Priestess, which is also Cancerian energy, and then we have Scorpio. So there's a lot of water out here, a lot of emotions that may be guiding you to move forward at this time. So the Six of Swords brings in endings, right? Moving on from situations that may have been a little bit difficult for you to stay in. And it feels like things have become so uncomfortable now that staying is more difficult than leaving. And maybe that wasn't always the case for you, but your intuition is loud here. It is, it's loud. You can no longer push down that inner voice because your feelings here are saying, I got to do this. I have to move on. This is the truth of the matter here. So let's see what this is that you're moving on from. What is it that you're moving on from? Ooh, the base chakra. For some of you, it is related to your stability, your home, okay, your family traditions or dynamics. Oftentimes, well, all the time, the base chakra is formed between the ages of 0 and 7, and it can be our sense of belonging. Some of you don't feel like you belong in this situation any longer, which certainly could be, a job or a career. It could even be a relationship where you've put a lot of time and energy and effort into it, but you feel like you don't belong there. And that's what you are noticing. That's what's bubbling up within you. And you're saying, wait a second, why have I been hanging on to staying in an environment where I'm not welcome, where I don't feel like this is conducive to my growth? That's why you're facing the Judgment here. That's why you are heading towards it. Let's look at what this Judgment is all about. Time to consider the next move. And sooner rather than later, you are going to move forward here. I feel between now and June, okay, even though these are timeless readings, a lot of you are watching it in the month of maybe March or so. And I feel Cancer season is the kickoff, right? It is the catalyst here where now you have these ideas. Now you have this inner knowing that says, I know what I need to do, but you may be taking baby steps, but expect Cancer season to be a full launch into, a new life is what I'm getting. So let's dive in. What does the Judgment mean? Let's clarify. What does the Judgment here mean for you? Choices. Yeah, because when you've been in a situation for quite some time, some of you, you've been in a job or a marriage or a belief system that was created very early on in your life. again, between the ages of maybe 0 and 7, you have grown to believe that something was a certain way, or you had to act or believe in a certain manner in order for you to survive, right? It can be our defense mechanisms, our survival mechanisms. But I feel like you are challenging that here. You're saying, wait a second, is that still true for me? Is it still true that this brings me happiness? Is it still true that this is the relationship that I want to be in and grow old with someone? Is it still true that I feel like I have to go it alone? And what's really going on below the surface is you are shaking up some of your values and your beliefs, and you're realigning. You're realigning based on this new energy that you have grown into, this new ascension here that you have taken on. And it's bringing a bit of mental conflict at times, because on one side, you don't have enough information yet. You're like, well, I don't really know how this is going to work out. I know how I feel, but I don't have the facts. I don't have the evidence. I don't have the knowledge to fully comprehend or understand what this is going to look like. That's why you have the high priestess here. That is why you are being guided to trust and listen to your inner voice and listen to, what your feelings are telling you. The Two of Swords can be a crossroads, and some of you were ignoring a choice, okay? But you can't ignore it anymore is what I'm getting, because it's become too loud. It's become too big. And the Two of Swords is also about maybe feeling paralyzed by indecision. And I feel like it's more important now than ever to trust your instincts. All right. That's what the Two of Swords is all about. Making a choice between the head and the heart. And the heart is pulling you. I see it. The heart is saying, all right, I know that I want to move forward towards a sense of belonging. I want to move forward towards, bettering my life and being successful and really embracing what the Chariot brings. The Chariot is triumphant success, right? The Chariot is all about, moving forward towards your highest purpose, your highest mission here. And I feel like you are conflicted. Why? Because you've been disappointed or let down in the past. And you also are fearful of, what if I let this all go and I basically jumping off this cliff and I'm jumping into like a pit fire of something that's going to make it worse. Like, what if it's worse by moving forward? But what if it's better, Soul Tribe? Right behind the Chariot, you have the sun. You have the sun. And so I feel like there's light here. She's not falling, right? She's reaching up to the heavens. And I feel like you are being divinely guided to take this leap of faith towards, moving on to a second chance, like having this rebirth. This is your spiritual mission. This is your calling. You are being called to move into your purpose. But because there's been some suffering for some of you, you have had, I'm getting even depression or anxiety so bad around this situation that it has caused you to feel paralyzed. Like, how do I make a move? I don't even know anymore. I don't know what way's up, what way's down. But what you do see here is resources. Balance. The Six of Pentacles showing up here. The Six of Pentacles is, material and spiritual prosperity. So I feel like you are moving forward, and we have the 8 showing up here as well. So there's your movement forward. And both the 6 and the 8 tell me you are ready. Right? You are ready here. You may even be more balanced than you think you are. You may feel like you're not ready, but you are. And this is about material and spiritual prosperity. And that may be a fear of, well, what if I fail? Right? But darling, what if you fly? And that's what I see you doing, is you are spreading your wings. Where's that wing card here? She has her hands up, and I feel like you're not fully there yet, because even on the Sun card, you see that one hand is surrendering and the other hand still is working its way up. So you are bringing your head and your heart into balance here, where both of them are going to feel like they're on the same page sooner rather than later by Cancer season. So I want to see here, what are these resources? What resources are here to help you embrace your soul's purpose? What are the resources? Six of Pentacles can be unexpected gifts, donations, grants, taxes, scholarships, charitable contributions. It can even be, other people coming in to help you move, help you get a job. All right, what do we have here, please? All right, we have the 8, another 8 showing up. Emotional withdrawal. So for some of you, this is my Eat, Pray, Love card. This is about the quest for something deeper. So when it comes to resources, you have to leave behind one lifeline, which isn't really a lifeline. It's a slow drip. Like drip, drip, drip. Like you're getting just enough morphine to not even keep the pain at bay anymore, right? It feels like there's been a drip that now it's been replaced with just water. Like it's not even doing anything. It's a placebo, basically. It's an illusion. So it feels like you are being guided to disconnect from the old source that fed you. And it's difficult because you have some sort of an emotional connection or bond to it. If you didn't, it would be easier to break away from. But this could be, your feelings that we mentioned earlier. We have the Chariot here. So, excuse me, I do feel like a lot of you are ready to move on, but there's still some sort of attachment. And in order for you to fully embrace the resources that are ahead, because not only do you have full access, it's not a toxic poisoning of the body. So I don't know why morphine is coming up here with the slow drip, but it feels like it doesn't have to be pain management. Maybe that's part of it. For some of you, it was like, I had to stay in this, and maybe you masked it through some sort of addiction of some sort. And I just feel like there's a whole well that you can drink from, and it's not a well of morphine, right? It's not a well of toxicity. This is a well that is truly from the sun, from the source, from the divine. And you have to be willing to cut that old supply off in order to dip not just your toes into this well of abundance, but to go take a swim in it. And that's what I'm getting here for you. This is such an interesting reading. All right, let's look at the Judgment a little more closely here, a little closer. Some of you are unable to let this go because it's become a lifeline, is what I see here. It's become a lifeline, but there's fear, and that fear is judging the new beginning. The fear is judging here, or even crossing the path of the High Priestess, and it is clouding. Yeah, it's clouding your own intuition. How does the collective here release this fear? How does the collective release the fear? The sacral chakra, Kundalini awakening. This is about your your creativity, like getting creative. It is about activating your pleasure. It is about you being able to work on financial means, getting creative with money, getting creative with your relationships, and getting creative with what happiness looks like for you. Really open up this sacral chakra, which is interesting because we start off with the base, right? So then there's the sacral, which is formed, I think, around 7 to 14-ish. And you know that is a time of stepping into one's own. We have a lot of changes between the ages of 0 and 14 with the combination, but 7 to 14, It's really a time of maturity and a time of growth. So you've hit a growth spurt and it feels like you're trying to jam, your old shoes on, your old size 8 shoes, and now you wear a size 10 and you're like, wait a second, this is too tight. This hurts. This is painful. I can no longer walk around in these shoes. You've outgrown this situation here. So when you can start seeing that there is a more enriching future ahead, when you can start to release that fear and say, yeah, I have outgrown it, you can walk towards the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups is beautiful. This also reminds me of the collective reading that came out, yesterday around celebration ahead and letting go. And I feel like there's a similar theme here of moving on or letting go. And sometimes that is the most challenging of human lessons, is letting go, because we attach ourselves, right? We attach ourselves to things that we're emotionally bonded to. And for some of you, I feel like you've maybe felt left out, right? You maybe felt left out, or maybe there was like a triangulation of some sort, or you just didn't feel like you belonged. The Three of Cups is a sense of belonging. And this is what you have ahead, right? You have a sense of togetherness, collaboration, resources. But you have to let go of that old lifeline that has kind of drained your energy. Spirit, what do we need to know about this newfound connection, and how can the collective recognize that this is where they belong? How are they going to know? All right, crown chakra. Beautiful. The Two of Pentacles, movement, choices, and decisions. So when the Two of Pentacles shows up here, I definitely feel like you are making some choices in the physical realm where, you're comparing, you're going to compare. And that's, so oftentimes we're taught, don't compare, open yourself up to what is right in front of you. But I feel if you're asking, or we are asking, like, how are you going to know? You're going to know because it feels accepting. It feels like it aligns with your spiritual self. So if you are wondering, how are you going to know? Compare it to how you felt, right? Compare it to how this group or this tribe or this relationship made you feel. Because that is what is going to help you continue to move forward and make some of these choices. You have spiritual help here. You have angelic support. You have the help and guidance of your ancestors. And I do feel like you will be celebrated for who you are without feeling like you have to detach, or you have to hide yourself, or you can't be your full-on self. I feel like you've already withdrawn from whatever this was in the past, because again, you didn't feel like you were safe, because safety and security come with the first and second chakra. You didn't feel like you were safe to grow, safe to express your own individuality and authenticity. You may have felt like your power was taken in a way, again, draining, like the slow drip, and it was exhausting you. And you're like, wait a second, I was stuck in this bed, right, on this life support here, in a sense where I didn't have vitality. What does this feel like? What does this look like? Well, it looks like vitality, right? So comparing it even to the old way of doing things, there's a sense of freedom. There's a sense of liberation. You're also going to be sleeping better, dreaming better. Your connection with spirit will be stronger. And that's how you are going to know. All right. Any final messages here? Let's get a final message for you, collective. We have the sugar maple, introspection, meditation, self-reflection, and signs. That is the high priestess in a nutshell, right? So this is the time for you to really trust that inner voice and those feelings, for you to go inward if need be, because your intuition is telling you that this is your life's purpose. It's important to let go of all of the trials and tribulations. You've gotten this far, right? You didn't get this far just to get this far. You are ready to move on to the next chapter of your life, the next leg of your journey. But so often we hang on to that slow drip thinking that, well, if I disconnect from that life support, I will die, right? We think that it will be an ending, but what you don't realize is right here on the other side of that door, and I keep looking at like a hospital room. So some of you, I mean, I feel like it's more symbolic, of course, than literal, but it just feels like on the other side of the door is this huge well, this huge spring, this huge body of, water where you get to jump right in and you're like, whoa, wait a second. This is what it feels like to be free, or this is what it feels like to have more vitality. Look within and align your mind, body, and spirit. Beautiful. Look within. Yeah, there's a balancing coming in here for you. And this reminds me of the temperance, which was in yesterday's collective reading. But I feel like the sugar maple is you also feeding the things that bring you joy, the things that bring you pleasure, hence the sacral chakra. For some of you who have a bit of a sweet tooth, potentially towards sugar, oftentimes I have found in my practice that when you are craving sweets, it means that there is an area of your life that you are wanting more pleasure and more sweetness in, right? You feel like there's a lack of, and sometimes we navigate towards the processed sugars, the quote unquote morphine for that fix. And I just feel like there's an alternative path here. There's a purpose for you, for you've gone through, all of those life experiences till this point. And the judgment here is redemption. The judgment is self-awareness. It is a rebirth. So you don't have to fear the new journey, right? You don't have to fear that you have to take those things with you, because I feel like this is about, rising up. It's about you really claiming your purpose and your mission here on this earthly realm. So get ready. Cancer season is going to be a good one for you. I definitely see triumphant movement forward. You got this, Soul Tribe. If this resonates with you, please hit that thumbs up button. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And if you haven't already, jumped on the Soul Saturday train where I show up face to face, answer your questions, deliver channeled messages, as well as a few global predictions. You can find all of those videos in the collective playlist. I'll also add to the description box, and I'll add to the end of the video here. So thank you again for tuning in, Soul Tribe, and lots of love.